Here we have our XM6LD 6-channel line driver crossover. We're going to show you guys the manual and how to use this crossover with only one RCA input.
Okay, so that we have our input. This is 1 and 2. I'm only using right now just one RCA. Okay, so when you put this position in 2 channels, whatever you put in here in 1 and 2 is gonna be out in every single output, in every single channel. Tweeters, this channel, this channel, this channel, and subwoofer. Okay.
So all you have to do is switch it to 2.
So 2, and you gonna put the input in 1 and 2 input. 1 and 2.
Now, let's say they want to use channel 4.
Okay, in 4 channel, in this position, 4 channel, wherever you put in 1 and 2, it's gonna feed these 3 channels. Tweeters, bandpass 1, bandpass 2. But this and subwoofer also. 1 and 2, subwoofer, this channel, and this channel.
Okay.
But these 2 is feeding with this, with 3 and 4. This and this, here and here. As you can see, the lines in 3 and 4 shows this channel and this channel.
You can also find this information
in
the manual. It shows you right there.
Yeah, they say using only one pair is gonna feed internally all the channels, and using 2 pairs, you're gonna see what channels, what section is gonna feed the whatever input you put it. And using the 6 channels is the
Let's show them how the 6-channel works.
Yeah, the only things that change using 6 channels is the subwoofer input. The 5 and 6 is gonna feed only the subwoofer section, and 3 and 4 is gonna be all the same 2 channels. These two channels, and 1 and 2 is gonna feed those 3 channels. So when you're using 2 channels, only 1 and 2 is gonna feed all the channels. Okay. When using 4 channels, the 1 and 2 feed subwoofer and these 3 channels, and 3 and 4 is gonna feed only these 2 channels. When you using 6 channels, 1 and 2 is gonna feed these 3 channels, 3 and 4 these 2 channels, and 5 and 6 only the subwoofers. That's it.
So pretty basic, something very easy to use.
Today we're going to talk about the 2 current electronic crossovers from PRV Audio, the EX3.5 Stereo and the EX4.6 Pro. First, let's talk about the EX3.5 Stereo, which is one of the newest crossovers from PRV Audio. 3 inputs, 5 outputs. So you have 1, 2, 3 here on the bottom. You have the front in, and you have a separate sub in. The sub in is good if you want to control it with your radio. A lot of radios have a function to control subwoofer. If you follow the arrows, it's pretty easy to see where these go. So the front in can be shared between the sub in and the other outputs that use the front end connection by pressing the button. It's very descriptive here. When the button is down, you're using the signal from the front in to go to the sub out. When the button is up, you're using the sub in signal to go to the sub out. We'll start with the sub out here. We have a subsonic filter between 40, 30, 20, and flat. Flat will have no filter for the subsonic, which is basically a high pass filter. So this will cut the low frequencies. It's very accurate. There's no guessing on which frequency you have it set to. It's very clearly marked here. The next is the low pass filter, which will cut your high frequency, so you have a choice between 250 hertz, 150 hertz, 80 hertz, and flat. Flat will leave it open, no crossover. You come down, you have the phase. Some people like to put their subwoofers 180 out. You see it sounds different to you. Bass boost. And then you basically on and off for the signal. This will tell where the signal is going to come out or not. And then you also have the gain control here, level, which controls the amount of signal going out to your amplifier. Coming back to the front in, it goes up and over to the mid out. Here you have a high pass and low pass filters. You can use this for a variety of different products. The filters start 250, 150, 80, and flat. Low pass, 8,000, 4,000, 2,000, and flat. Again, on and off, and the level. The next one over is the high out. This is mainly for tweeters, but it can also be used for compression drivers. There is a phase button to put it 180 out. Some people like to change the phase to get rid of cancellation issues. The high pass filter here is 8,000, 4,000, 2,000, and 900 hertz. Just like all the other outputs, there is an on and off and a level. Let's just go back to the outputs. The sub out is really only going to be good to be used with a subwoofer. Why? Because the frequencies are very low on the cutoffs. These are very low, 40, 30, and 20, and very low on the low pass, 250, 150, and 80. It's really only going to sound good with a subwoofer or a very low frequency woofer. The mid out is best used for low frequency woofers, mid bass, and mid range because of the filters that are in place here. And finally, the high out again is for tweeters or very high frequency titanium compression drivers. The best application for this crossover, the EX 3.5 stereo, would be a simple three-way system inside of the car with a subwoofer, a mid-range or mid-bass, and a tweeter. If you want to do a large system, multiple components on your doors, or stunt wall, then I'm going to show you the EX 4.6 Pro. The EX 4.6 Pro has 4 inputs and 6 outputs. So we have here on the bottom, the front end is 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 6 outputs are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like the 3.5 stereo, you can follow the arrows and see where the signal goes. So if you want to use just the front end, you can use just one connection here, a left and a right RCA, and it goes up and it will come over to the sub in. When the button is down, you're using the front input. When the button is up, you're using the sub input. Move this up so you can see. So the sub input just has one RCA connection that will go up to the sub out. The front end will also go to the mid-low in. Same idea. If you want to use this RCA only, the button should be down. If you want to use its own input, the button should be up, and the signal will carry straight up to the mid-low out. So the sub and the mid-low are mono channels. Sub out, mid-low out. These are mono. The front input then will go over to the mid-high out and the high out. The sub output has only a low pass filter. This will cut high frequencies, starting at 55 hertz up to 300 hertz. This is really good for subwoofers, and you can also use this for very low frequency pro audio subs. But if you're going to do that, we recommend using the sub input that comes from the sub output of your radio, so you can set a high pass filter. And you can also control the level right from your radio. It does have a bass boost knob, 0 dB, which is no boost, all the way to plus 12 dBs. There is an on and off switch. We'll cut the signal to the amplifier, and then a gain level control. The mid-low out has both high pass and low pass filters. These two outputs, the mid-low out and the mid-high out, are pretty versatile in that you can use them for a variety of different products. The mid-low out, we don't recommend using it on tweeters or titanium compression drivers because you'll be losing out on some high frequencies on this low pass filter using it with a titanium compression driver that can play much higher than 9,000 hertz. The high pass filter starts at 25 hertz and goes all the way up to 4,000 hertz. So that's where it's good for phenolic compression drivers, mid-range or mid-bass. Then the low pass filter, which is the high frequencies, you can cut from 300 hertz all the way to 9,000 hertz. On and off switch and level control. The mid-high out is better for titanium compression drivers. You can also use this for mid-range or mid-bass. This is a stereo output. Okay, so you have left and right. That'll take the left and right from the front input. The mid-low and the sub are mono. So these two signals are merged and come out with only one RCA. The high out has only a high pass filter, which is mostly used for tweeters, super tweeters, or titanium compression driver that you just want to cut the low frequencies and let it play all the way up to wherever it'll reproduce. Again, it has on and off switch, just like all the other outputs, and a level control. So again, the EX4.6 Pro is better for a larger system where you have multiple components versus the EX3.5 stereo, which is better suited for a smaller in-the-car system.
Today I'm going to show you guys the XM5, our 5-channel active crossover. This is a high volt crossover. Check this baby out. 5 channels so you can control every single channel independently. Check that out. Tiffany style RCAs. You got your connector for your power, ground, remote in and remote out. Check out that baby. On the output side, you got Tiffany style RCAs as well. Check that out. It's a beauty. It's a beauty. Now, what makes this crossover different from the rest? So on this side, you have your subwoofer channel, right? So you can adjust your subwoofer completely individually from everything. Plus, we've added a clipping indicator. So it'll tell you once your subs are about to max out or clip out. Now, then we pass to the rear. What would you put in the rear? You can put, this is the rear low. So you would put your mid basses here. You can adjust your mid bass level, your frequency, everything is independently from the subs from the next one. We've also added a clipping indicator. Then we're gonna go to the middle row. What's on the middle row? You got your mid ranges. So you're gonna put your mids right there, and then you'll set the mids separately from the mid bass. So if you have, let's say, a big stunt wall and you have your mid basses on the bottom and you have your mid ranges on top, you can cross these babies over independently. You have your mid bass controlled by one channel, and then you'll got your mid ranges from a separate channel. Then we're going to move over to the mid high. Here's where you want to put on your drivers, your compression drivers on this channel. We've also added a clipping indicator to this one. Then we go up to the highs. Here's where you're going to put on your super tweeters, and you'll adjust your tweeters separately from your drivers. So you'll get that driver frequency, and then you'll get that tweeter frequency. As you can see, every single channel has a different frequency. So the mid bass starts from 200 hertz all the way to 2 kilohertz. Wow. Then you got your mids from 800 hertz all the way to 10K. Then you got your drivers from 1.2K all the way to 12K. Then you have your tweeters 1.5K all the way to 15K. This is the XM5, guys. Make sure you check it out.
CRX-4, ele é um crossover de 4 vias, onde nós temos as entradas de áudio na sua parte superior, as saídas de áudio na parte inferior, onde temos as vias low, low mid, mid high e high. Nesse caso, feitos especialmente para cada um dos tipos dos alto-falantes, como subwoofers, médios graves, drivers e super tweeters. Vamos ver mais detalhadamente cada uma dessas vias? Para os ajustes do nosso crossover Taramps CRX-4, temos várias formas de fazê-lo. Dessa forma temos os fins de respostas nas diferentes vias, o início de respostas em cada uma das vias e também o nível de ganho em cada uma das vias, todos separadamente. Para as entradas, temos a entrada RCA mono da via low e a saída mono da via low. Lembrando que na via low temos um ajuste de frequência de bass boost, também incluso. Na via low mid, voltada para médios graves, temos aqui a entrada mono RCA e a sua saída mono RCA. Já para as vias High Mid e High voltada para drivers e super tweeters, nós temos a entrada estéreo LR e a saída LR separada para cada uma delas aqui. E aí pessoal, espero ter esclarecido todas as dúvidas sobre a operação do nosso crossover. Qualquer dúvida, qualquer sugestão, deixa aqui nos comentários. Até a próxima!